Hello, everyone, and welcome to our session today, Social Belonging in STEM Fields. Before we begin, I want to cover some housekeeping items. This session will be recorded. Please leave your cameras and microphones muted throughout the session. If you have any questions, please use the Q&A feature. We will get to as many of them as we can at the end of the session. And now I'm pleased to introduce our speaker, Dr. Dominque Kliger. Dr. Dominque Kliger currently has a faculty appointment at the Computer Sciences Department and serves as the Online Graduate Programs Director at the College of Sciences and Technology. She also teaches courses at the College of Education and at the Fox Business and Management School. On behalf of everyone involved with the GUIDE Conference and the Diversity and Inclusion Committee at Rowan-Cabarrus Community College, we're pleased to welcome Dr. Dominque Kliger.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. Give me 1 second and I'll share slides. Welcome, everyone. Can you see my screen now? Okay, very good. So I'm very pleased to be at the GUIDE Conference. This is the first time that I am attending this conference. And I haven't attended all the sessions, but the ones that I have attended have been fantastic. I also want to thank everybody for being here at 3 p.m. on a Friday before Thanksgiving week. And I want to say that my dear friend, Doug Koch, is presenting at the same exact time. So we are looking forward to seeing each other's recording after the fact. So I've been working at Temple University. I am for several years. I've graduated from Temple University as well. I obtained my master's in communications and technology, and I did as well. My passion is online learning. And a few years back, I was brought to the College of Science and Technology to work with faculty development as the Computer Information Science Department was launching a brand new online master's program in information science and technology. And COVID hit, and the college decided to be very forward-thinking and appointed our physics, at that time, professor, now Vice Dean, Bern Sorrell, to lead a center for digital education. And with that, we invited Dr. Catherine Schifter, who is an emeritus faculty from the College of Education, to join us in this initiative. And we were very, very lean on resources. And we started to brainstorm what resources can we bring for faculty development for college and get faculty engaged. And when we started to research, we came across a video at the NIH, and that's all we are talking about with you today, that changed the shift of our research, allowed us to get a small grant, and allowed us to conduct a pilot test together with Professor Luehrmann, who is from the physics department. And I would love to share with you details about it. I would love to connect with you after the fact, learn if any of you are doing or are seeing this initiative at your organizations, would like to connect about it. And so we can create a community of fostering and sense of belonging, especially in the STEM fields, where we know that if the students don't receive enough support, they ended up blaming themselves for failing, and they shift majors right at the end of the first year. So to let you know what we are talking today, for those of you that do not know Temple, the owl is our symbol, so that I found this little cute photo, orange, in honor of Thanksgiving, and just put it together for all of us to enjoy. So we want to share the ideas of the project. We want to give credit to the person that nicely developed this project and is successfully spreading the word about it. And she was the one whose video we found it at the NIH website. We want to show you the steps of our project. So this way, if you wish to replicate and don't know about it, you can follow it. We want to tell you about how we tweak the steps a little bit to fit the needs of our community, student and faculty, and also tell you a little bit about lessons learned and where do we want to go with this project. Should I just continue, Jonathan, or should I entertain questions in between? So I'll keep going, but if you
Yeah,
see questions.
we don't have any questions right now, so please go ahead.
Very good. So I don't know if we have anybody here from the University of Pittsburgh, but the credit of our pilot study goes all to Professor Singh from the University of Pittsburgh, from the physics department, who has really nicely spreading the word about the importance of making our students, especially minority students in the STEM field, not give up, to persevere, to be resilient, to develop strategies, and to most importantly understand that yes, they do belong in the STEM fields and they will succeed with the proper strategies and mindset. So this is the video that we found at NIH. It's a 1-hour video with 2 parts. Professor Singh is the second part. So at the end of this presentation, I will show you 4 minutes of this clip. I also have the URL. I will post it on the chat for you. Actually, Jonathan, you have the presentation. You're welcome to locate the URL at the bottom, the last slide, and post it, or when the time comes, I will tell you to do that in the chat so people have it and can watch it at their own time. And I'll invite you all to watch it because it's really a fantastic video. Both speakers have a lot of important messages to share. So as you can see, Temple University does have a Diversity Innovation Initiative Fund. It does have a DEI department, but this Diversity in Innovation Initiative Fund is inside of the College of Science and Technology. So once we learn about Professor Singh's study, we knew that there was up to $1,000 grant that was on an ongoing basis. We crafted a grant, we crafted a budget, we received that budget very quickly, which made us really very happy. And I will tell you how we went about using it and what happened with it. So the idea was to pilot test the study, and I'll describe it in a little bit, over our 6 departments, so biology, chemistry, computer information science, earth and environmental science, mathematics, and physics. And the idea was to train 2 faculty members from each department. If they had a TA, we would train their TAs. If not, we would train, like in the physics department, for instance, we learned that the faculty don't have TAs, so then the idea was to work with 2 faculty members in the physics department. And then explain to them what this initiative was about and have them run this activity in 2 freshman level courses in each department, just as a small pilot test and see what results we would get from it. So an invitation message went out to department chairs, but I don't know about your institutions, but Temple does have an amazing initiative to support freshman students. So we have what's called freshman seminar. It's a 1 credit level. And in the fall semester, there were 40 sections of this freshman seminar. And when we invited the department chairs to nominate 2 faculty members, we CC our associate dean for the department that coordinates all the sections, is the advising center. And once he heard what the project was about, it was a no-brainer. He contacted us and he said, can we expand this to all of our 40 freshman seminar sections? And yeah, we could, but the issue was budget. So we were budgeting for 12 courses and now we had to think about 40 courses. So I'll tell you what we did. We contacted our DEI funding unit. We explained the situation, and I will tell you what funding that was requested was about. We requested funds. Let me explain what the activity is about first, then I will explain to you what the funds were. So let me give you a little introduction. This is literally the abstract and the title of our grant. So it's a project on belonging and in helping students be self-resilient. So I'll read it to you. The project being proposed for funding is an interdisciplinary project comprised of a social belonging activity to be conducted in 12 course sections in the College of Science and Technology. So like I shared with all of you before, 2 per department. This activity has been conducted at other institutions such as University of Cincinnati, University of Minnesota, University of Pittsburgh, Ohio State University, and Princeton University, and always in STEM core sections. The desired outcomes was to offer activity to increase resilience, tolerance to failure, self-confidence, and therefore increase student retention in the College of Science and Technology at Temple University. And the idea of the project goes like that. It's a 25-minute activity, and the first 10 minutes of the activity is basically distributing in the sections 3x5 cards and asking students individually to write down their thoughts about challenges that they encounter or they think they encounter as they are transitioning. And believe it or not, the students really took the time to write. And not only they took the time to write, they were filling these cards. They were like really like making their font smaller, even though we had extra cards, just so they could write a lot of their ideas. They were really engaged with the process. The other thing was when we designed the activity and we were thinking about the budget, Dr. Jamie Payton, the chair of our Computer Information Science department, heard that we were trying to have a giveaway, something that was affordable, but something that was meaningful. And we were researching pens with the Temple T, the cherry and white colors. Let me see if I can show you. So she says, what about if we write on them, let me get to the camera, CST belong. And that's basically what we did. We ordered pens. So we ordered pens and we ordered cards, and we thought we were all set to go until we heard that we were going from 12 to 40 sections. So we reached out to the GI funding agency, and they were able to order more 3x5 cards for us, which that's not the expensive part of it, but then order pens, which was going to take a little bit of more time for us to receive. We tweaked a little bit about the date of delivery to the students, and I'll tell you a little bit more when I start describing the phases of the activities. But we got it going. So basically our budget doubled. So instead of 1,000, I think we went to 2,200, 2,300, something like that. So as you can see, the budget was for pens, the budget was for 3x5 cards, and the budget was a little thank you, a $50 thank you gift to every single peer leader that assisted the faculty in this section. So the way these sections are designed at Temple, the faculty leads and teaches the sessions, but they all, every single one of them, or the majority of them, have a peer leader, which is an undergraduate student that is on the second or third year, so a sophomore or junior, has gone through the experience of being a freshman, has known what it takes to adapt to the college life, and who really delivers the majority of the content. So the content is designed together, all the sections follow the same content, but the person delivering and engaging with the students every week, even though the faculty member is in the classroom, is mostly the peer leader. So we wanted to, we were needed to have their time for training, their time for feedback, and them to be vested on the initiative. So we chose to offer them a gift. So that's basically where our budget was used for. So the next few slides are really going to show you the slides that were used to train the peer leaders and then presented in class. So you will see how the activity went. And 1 second, I'm just advancing the slides. So the first thing was to explain to them what this was about, right? So we were going to have 2 activities, one in week 5, the 25-minute activity that I'll explain to you in a second, and then one in week 10, 5 to 10 minutes, just a wrap-up conversation to see if any ideas that had been discussed on week 5 have resonated with them. Why did we choose weeks 5 and 10? Because in between there was midterms. And after week 10, we know very soon we are approaching finals. So we wanted to prepare them for midterms, have them have a resilient mindset, then discuss strategies and see what went right, what they could change, so they end strong at the end of their first semester, which is going to be in 2 weeks. We needed to explain to the peer leaders that they needed to get supplies, right? The cards, the pens, to bring it to class. So basically, I told you that we had to shift what to do with the pens. What we did is we were going to give to everybody on week 10, and we hold off giving to everybody, so everybody received on the same day on week 10. So we told them there was a gift and something for them to keep with them, but we told them that we had to wait because we had to order more pens. We wanted to make sure the peer leaders were very familiar with the goal of this activity. We wanted to make sure that the activity resonated with something that they had experienced. They had gone through challenges before, and we wanted them to know where to draw the 3x5 cards. So just logistics, but we needed to make sure they were vested on the activity itself. So this is what we read to the students when the activity began, the 25-minute activity. And I don't know if I said it, but I'll repeat it again. So the 25-minute activity was for them to read a couple of quotes we read to them. They will write their notes down. Then for 10 minutes, the 10 additional minutes, they were gonna converse in small groups in the class about what they had written in their cards about the challenges. And the last 5 minutes was a wrap-up conversation within the class. And this was all in week 10, so before midterms. And then after midterms in week 10, we just had a brief conversation with them to see what ideas and what strategies had changed in between that period of time. Something that we tweaked from this study is that when we told students that they could write challenges on the front of the card, we also told them that on the back of the card, they could write strategies, because we didn't want to assume that nobody had strategies. So if they had good strategies to succeed, they have learned from somebody or they had figured it out, we wanted them to write so they could start sharing. From the get-go, the students did start sharing. So I wanted to give them credit for that. So I'm sorry, let me read what the message that was read for them. It can be easy to feel overwhelmed and to ask yourself, do I really belong here? Am I smart enough to make it? These kinds of experiences are normal in the transition to college. Almost everyone goes through them and they get better with time. So we explained to them that we were replicating a study that Professor Singh has been conducted, and those were her words and not our words, but that we believed in that. And then when they were writing, like I told you, we read another quote to them. So many students experience difficulties and worries coming to college, from living in a new place, to trying to make new friends, to finding their way in a new academic environment. And then we gave them very detailed instructions. Take a few minutes to write about the concerns you have about college. What challenges do you anticipate in your transition to the College of Science and Technology? What are your thoughts about taking multiple college and science and technology courses? Do you have worries about overall course load? And how do you think your concerns will change over time? So we wanted them to start thinking that this was not like an experience that they will feel, or a feeling that they will have that will be uncomfortable and that will last forever. And then we gave them the instructions that I shared. After they did write, they set time to discuss with peers in small groups. And then we read a final quote when we started to open up for a conversation with everybody. A student's path to success is a journey with a beginning, middle, and end. Along the path, some struggles will be encountered, but they will be overcome with effort. Use your struggles as learning opportunities. Any questions, any thoughts about what did you think students wrote on their cards? Jonathan, did you see any contributions or answers on the chat?
There's not currently any questions.
No problem. So like I said, we reconvene as a class when we read that quote, and then we start talking about it. So basically, this was the activity. Like I told you, we needed to make sure we coordinated all the peer leaders. So we had about 33 peer leaders for the 40 sections. They taught in all different days and times. We created big boxes. So the cards, since they were to be anonymous and the students knew about it, the peer leaders will wrap up their cards and throw it on our boxes for collections. And we are in the process of reading everything. We don't have anything to report. We didn't even obtain IRB. This was just, like I say, a pilot study, preliminary activities, but we were very pleased with what we found and how it was received by the peer leaders, by the faculty, and by the students. So this is, we asked the students to watch the video. I think I have a few more screens, and then I'll share a small segment of it, but that's the same video with Professor Singh that I talked to you before. And then I wanted to share with all of you some of the lessons that we learned through doing this pilot test. And something that I didn't say before, my apologies. I never mentioned that Dr. Catherine Schifter and Dr. Mia Luehrmann are not here talking. They couldn't be here, they apologize, but we worked together on this presentation for you. So at the end of this presentation, our contact information will be on a contact screen. You can take screenshots. I think this presentation is going to be shared as well. And again, we definitely welcome staying connected and answering any additional questions or exchanging information with all of you. So it takes a village to get a consistent message across many sections. So we really learned that we had to coordinate our effort, and what we did helped, and I'll explain what we did. So we invited all the peer leaders for training sessions, but rather than making them come to us, we knew that they had in the advising center, they had weekly meetings. So we asked permission to join for a portion of their meetings. So we went to them. So we knew that they were mandatory meetings. We knew that we would reach them in all the sections. They have 5 sections for the 33 peer leaders. And among Catherine, Mia, and I, we divided our time and we went to them at a location that they were already connecting. So we didn't have to coordinate schedules with them. That was very helpful. The other thing that we did is we needed to bring to their attention what was going to happen, but we wanted to have their ideas fresh on what was happening. So we offered them training on week 3, but we also did a recording of the training. We did I recorded myself, talking like I'm doing right now. And we offered them the Zoom link, the recording link, so they could watch just prior on week 5 when they were going to class, just a day before, so they could watch it, have their ideas refreshed, and then go into the classroom and be able to conduct the activity. I think that helped a lot for consistency. And if for some reason a student had forgotten something, they had 2 weeks in between to talk to each other, or they, most importantly, they knew that they could contact us and ask any questions for clarification. So it worked very well. The fact that they had a place to meet also helped with distribution of materials. So we had envelopes, and when you do a project and you don't have resources, you end up doing it all, right? So we were the ones wrapping all the cards and creating envelopes and putting the peer leaders' names on it on envelopes, and then gathering the pens and then gathering more pens, and we made it happen. And then we would distribute to somebody, and just to find out that one peer leader will have 2 sections, and we would scramble again to get the second package on time to that. But we made it happen, and at least we knew that they would go to one location once a week, and that was a common space to distribute materials. We didn't have to be searching for them in different departments and buildings. So like I said before, to our surprise, the students, and that was reported by all peer leaders, they really had a lot to share, and they really took those 10 minutes. And when you watch the video presentation from Professor Singh, she also said that in her experiences, the students really shared a lot, which is nice to know that when you give them the opportunity, they realize we care. And once we care, they open up and we can then help them out. Offering time to brainstorm solutions assisted students to keep a positive mindset. That was really very nice. We had students really coming up with interesting solutions and helping with each other. We had a student sharing that after midterms, she learned that she really had to change her practices, and rather than wait for material to accumulate and study, that she really had to chunk it up and every week study a bit. And that's important in the STEM field, especially in math courses. You cannot go and let's have 2 days on your weekend without practicing a problem. So we started to among ourselves and talk to the students about practice in small increments, but keep practicing going every single day. That has been helpful. And then also we learned that the activity has potential to offer an opportunity for students to express if challenges that they are facing are too large and assistance is needed. So that is huge, because if a student is feeling isolated or is feeling that something is really major and they open up in a card, and the faculty can then offer intervention and have resources from the university to offer intervention, is fantastic. And an intervention that you're offering for one student in the class can benefit other students in the class as well. So that's something that we were not anticipating, but we really think is valuable. And another lesson learned is that it could be nice to have faculty become aware of the students' challenges to be able to address them. So basically, we collected all the cards and had somebody reading them. So I think Catherine Schifter was mostly curating everything. And we never allowed the faculty that was leading the section or the peer leader to browse those cards. So I think once we had the opportunity to replicate this or grow this pilot test, one suggestion will be involve the faculty of those sessions a little bit more, so they have more of an in-depth knowledge of what's happening when it comes to their students and the challenges that they are facing. And in terms of future steps, we believe that this activity can become part of the freshman seminar course with a present or without a present. It's a valuable activity. We haven't proposed that yet, but we aim to, and we hope it's going to be well received. We also aim to connect, like I was sharing at the beginning of the session, with other institutions that are involved in social belonging activities like this, so we can form, a community and exchange practices on it. And we see that there is a potential as using this, like Dr. Singh said, as a valuable retention tool for STEM, of course, but also for any discipline, for any school and college that would like to create their name, their school name, and say belong. I think the students having that sense of belonging and conversation about belonging may really be able to think twice before they drop out or before they, stop paying attention or start thinking that they do not belong. So let me pause for a second before showing the video and see if there are any questions.
So Dr. Kliger, we do have a comment from attendee Leanna Russell, who agrees with the earlier point that you made, or seconds it, that females might have concerns in STEM about inclusion and acceptance. I don't know if you want to elaborate on that.
Yeah, Dr. Singh talks about it in great depth, and she has statistics. So I would say watching the video, the part that I am going to share doesn't talk just about female, but it talks about minority students in general. But Dr. Singh has some slides showing percentages of female students. And one example that I remember from her video, which is fantastic. So she talks about a male student versus a female student receiving a B+. The female student really feels that she didn't make enough and should not feel proud about it. And the male student will feel that's good enough, it's a passing grade, and they will continue. So the mindset of female and male students is very different when it comes to STEM fields as well. So yeah, I definitely, I can't say how much I learned from Professor Singh and how much you seeing the video in its entirety from its own source will be fantastic. I think I have the link here for the video, 1 second. Oh, here we go. So give me a second, and I think I have it open. Let me just share my sound on my computer. Yeah, it's sharing. So Jonathan, I'm gonna launch the 4-minute video. Would you give me a thumbs up if you can hear on your end?
Will do.
Okay, here we go. So let me just adjust the screen a little bit. Can everybody see this? So here is Professor Singh. I can't wait to connect with her. We haven't had the chance to do it yet.
So I'll give you some other example. Like this is an example, again, that causes stereotype threat for students. Like this says, Professor Smith is concerned about high failure rate in his introductory course. And to encourage students to work harder, he starts the first class by telling students that this is a difficult course and usually about 25% of the students fail. They must be careful, particularly if they think that their background preparation is weak. You can see already Dr. Ellington did a brilliant job of actually talking about why this kind of a thing is bad, because she was saying that if you don't keep your things student-centric, here you can see that from the first day, you are displaying a fixed mindset as an instructor. You are showing that you are only teaching to the people who are actually, on the top, when we should really be teaching to the top 100%, all of the students. And saying these kinds of things are actually making those students become even more anxious, have higher stereotype threats, who come from underprivileged background, who are coming from schools that have failing infrastructure, that didn't have like good science classes or didn't have AP courses and things like that. So you are telling those students that they don't even belong in your class because 25% of them will fail. So they start thinking about the fact that they must be the people you're talking to, and what's the point of even trying? So these kinds of things are really actually creating a negative and toxic environment in our classes, whether we recognize it or not. And we need to recognize that it's what impact we are having that is important, not our intentions. So if you say ambiguous things, such as problems are trivial when the students have struggled and they have come to you, students are more likely to go into this reliance of stereotype and they start questioning their own ability. And that can actually increase their anxiety and diminish their performance and lower their sense of belonging, self-efficacy, and their engagement with things. And that can actually create this negative loop that can further diminish performance. So we need to recognize what role we can, we play in students' lives, and how certain things we are doing are really negatively, impacting the students. So again, very similar to what Dr. Ellington's talked about, you need to really think about curriculum and instruction with focus on students. That's the most important thing, right? Who are our students and how can I make sure that all of the students do well? And in that context, with students in mind, you need to think about selecting your curricula and pedagogies. And very importantly, how do you implement the curricula and pedagogy? Because notice that the same curricula and pedagogy will need to be adapted to different student groups if you really understand the students well and where they are coming from and what is their background. So that is really important to keep in mind. And equally importantly, one of the things that I would say, we have never thought about the fact that we should really be thinking about students holistically, and we should be strengthening both their defense and offense. What do I mean by that? If I were a tennis coach, I really want to make sure that my mentee, the person that I'm coaching, actually becomes good at both defense and offense, not just offense. Unfortunately, for too long in the STEM disciplines, we have only been focusing on thinking about our job as helping students develop good problem-solving skills, helping them transfer their learning from one situation to the other, helping them develop a robust understanding of the concepts that we are teaching. But we have completely forgotten the important role that we play in developing students' sense of belonging, their identity as a person who can excel in STEM, they're developing their growth mindset, the fact that intelligence is not immutable. It's not like only people who look like Einstein and Schrodinger can do physics, but everybody has the ability to do physics, and you should be working hard, working smart, taking advantage of challenges, and your brain is a muscle that can grow. And improving their self-efficacy, because notice that all of these things, if you actually create a learning environment which is equitable and inclusive, in which students have a high sense of belonging, high sense of identity as a STEM person, as a science person, growth mindset, and high self-efficacy, these things will also impact their interest positively. So interest itself is not a fixed thing. It can grow with you recognizing and affirming your students and validating them and helping them grow more. And it also will increase their achievement goals. And it
So I want to stop here so we can start talking about it. So as you can see, so Dr. Singh talks about the mindset, then she brings some statistics, and at the end of her slides, she offers the step-by-step instructions for the 25-minute activity that I described to all of you. So I just wanted to introduce you to the video and be able to open up a conversation about the importance of what we say to students, how we say to students, who are we trying to reach, and like Dr. Singh so beautifully said, how are we adapting our pedagogy each semester for the class of students that we have on that semester. So I see there is one more question in the chat.
Yes, there's another comment. Leanna Russell also writes that this could possibly cost them money because it might take longer to get an increase for the students if they change the program because of a type of any type of toxicity program.
I'm sorry, what would cost more if the students change majors, for us to explain that to them? Am I understanding the question correctly?
I think the comment is that the toxicity in a program would cost students money because it takes them longer to get a degree because of that lack of belonging.
Yeah, with the first example that Dr. Singh shared, with the faculty beginning a class and saying 25% of the class will not make it, right? I totally agree. It's very, very true. The mindset of the faculty matters. And the other thing that we learned from her tremendously, and we've seen in action, and my jaw almost dropped, and the faculty recognized that she doesn't do it, but she did it. So it happens, we are humans, right? So basically, a faculty member is talking to a student or is talking about a product and is about to offer the solution, and it says, oh, this is easy. And I'm like, no, you cannot say that. I had just seen the video again. You never tell a student when a question is coming your way that the answer is easy, because then the student thinks that he or she or they are not smart enough. It takes a long time for a student to have the courage to ask a question. And when they ask, the first thing that they hear, this is easy, they think, oh my gosh, if it's easy, how come I didn't figure that out, right? So I've seen it happening, and I pointed out to the faculty, and the faculty says, I know, I'm usually so mindful about it. I don't know how I said it. Immediately when I said it, I caught myself. So it takes practice, it takes collaboration, it takes a lot of trust. So on one hand, we are having this freshman seminar, and week after week encouraging students to go interact with faculty, ask questions, learn about resources. On the other hand, we are also working with faculty on educating them on issues related to inclusion and the practices and their words, right? The impact that their words and their choices make to students. Thank you for asking that or making that comment, yeah. Anything else? So I want to thank you very much for coming to this session. And for those of you that do not mind that I share a personal comment, I would love to, since we are about to begin Thanksgiving, I would love to share a personal story that happened to me exactly at this week, a year ago, that taught me a lot. So I was teaching one of the freshman seminars, and as part of the the activities. The students have to do a dream board. Those are small classes, 20 students. So by the end of the semester, we all know each other very well. And the dream board is a way for the students to get their dreams and goals organized and understand that if they plan for it and they aim it and they revise it, that they hopefully will achieve it, right, and succeed. And it was catching my attention that week after week, every student talking, regardless of who was talking, there were two common things on the boards: a big house and a pile of money. And then, of course, what they do, what they read, what they want to travel, that they want to graduate on time, you know, different things were on the board as well. Who supports them, family, friends, and so forth. But money and big houses were like a common theme there. And I have not seen that before at that level. And at that exact period of time, my brother was passing in Brazil. And just before he was fighting leukemia. And just before he went unconscious and was rushed to ICU, he and I were exactly on an afternoon like that, chatting through WhatsApp, not through Zoom, but I was seated exactly where I am right now with the same setting, light and everything. And he was capturing a photo of all of us, both of us, right? Because there was light, sunlight coming in, and he liked the sun rays and so forth. And he was in good spirits, had finished a second round of chemo, was doing great, was ready to prepare himself for a transplant. And he says, "Let me tell you what happened to me last night. Somebody came into my room," and he was in the hospital setting, of course. And he said, "Somebody came into my room to pick up my dinner tray." And you can see that the person was from a humble background, and the person, very polite, said hello, pick up my tray, left, and came back empty-handed and says, "May I offer you a gift?" And he was in good spirit, he was not in pain, and he says, "Yes, of course." And what she did was fantastic. She opened up her hands and she said, "Imagine I have a box, and imagine that you open the lid of this box. And when you open, you have abundance of everything you need, health and love and happiness and so forth." And he had tears in his eyes, they hug each other, and she leaves. And the next day he had to do an exam, he caught an infection, and that was the end of it. But the reason why I shared this story when I came back with my students, and I'm sharing it with all of you, because we are going to Thanksgiving, and because we are talking about belonging, and our students sometimes feel that they don't have a sense of worth unless they have the things that they see on the media, right? The big house, the big job, and so forth, and the piles of money. And I wanted them to know that in any time during their college careers or career paths or whatever, they would always have something to offer that is not related to money, that is coming from inside of them, from their values, from their mindset, right? So the Social Belonging Project is very dear to my heart. My experience with my brother at this time of the year, very, very dear. And being able to tell the students, you have worth, you have something to offer, regardless if you have your pile of money or not. Very, very important. So thank you for letting me share. Thank you for being here with me today. And I wish you all a happy Thanksgiving. Bye-bye.
So Dr. Kliger, on behalf of all the attendees and everyone listening, we want to thank you so much, give you a virtual round of applause. Thank you for so much volunteering your time to give this wonderful presentation on social belonging in STEM fields. And I will share the charts. And to everyone watching, thank you so much for your attendance today and participating at the 2022 Guide Conference sponsored by the Diversity and Inclusion Committee at Rowan-Cabarrus Community College in beautiful North Carolina. Thank you so much. We appreciate your attendance and participation. We want to thank our guest speakers, our performer, all our supporters today. We look forward to seeing everyone at next year's conference. Thank you and have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you. Bye-bye.